on the Hawkeyes Sports Network. From Learfield, Iowa Hawkeye Softball is brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community by University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. Hawkeye softball is on the air.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're set to play one more as the Iowa Hawkeyes softball team get ready to play their series finale against the Minnesota Golden Gophers this Sunday afternoon. Hi, my name is Lucas Strain, and you are listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network. Now, this is Game 3 of our three-game series, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair in which Minnesota took Games 1 and 2 on Friday and Saturday, actually shutting out the Hawkeyes over the first 14 innings of play. So when Iowa comes to bat in the top of the first, they'll still be looking for their first run of the weekend. And it's largely due to the fact of spectacular pitching out of Autumn Pease, the Minnesota ace. But good news for the Hawkeyes, they're not going to be facing her, at least to start off today. New pitcher for the first time this weekend, and it's going to be in the form of J.C. Hambrick for Minnesota. But we're not talking about Minnesota. We want to talk about our ladies. We want to talk about the Hawkeyes. Now, if we're looking for a little bit of a bright spot here, in Big Ten play this season, Iowa Hawkeyes are 4-0 in Game 3s. They are yet to lose a series finale this weekend against Big Ten opponents. In those 4 Game 3 series, it's actually the 5 series that they played this year in the Big Ten, Iowa has fallen behind 2-0 twice. But in both affairs, they were able to win Game 3 and avoid the sweep. So the Hawkeyes have not been swept yet in Big Ten play, and Coach Gillespie's not looking to make today the first day that happens. So the Hawkeyes are going to roll out a different lineup again, as they've been shut out the last 2 games. Coach Gillespie is trying to just roll out something different and try and get the offense clicking. And if we take a look at the Iowa starting lineup today, the top 3 remain the same. Nia Carter leading things off in right field. Nia Carter, who has 5 hits so far in this series, 5 of the 11 of the Hawkeye team. Batting second is Tatiana Roman, who's playing center field, and batting third is Tori Bennett, the shortstop. So the top 3 are unchanged for the Hawkeyes. The 4 spots where we're going to see a little bit of difference is usually been Grace Baines up at this point for the last couple of weeks, but Sammy Diaz is going to slide her way into the cleanup spot and play first base. Diaz hitting cleanup today, this after going 1 for 2 yesterday, and Baines got a hit as well, but she had been in a bit of a rough spot. That one hit was her first one in about 15 or 16 plate appearances. So Sammy Diaz swinging it well and has moved up into the cleanup spot. Baines only drops 1, is hitting 5th, and she's playing second base today. And for those of you who have followed along closely to the Hawkeyes this season, if Baines is playing second, that means somebody else has to be playing third, and we'll get to who's playing third a little bit lower in the lineup. Batting 6th, as always, is Denali Lecker, the DP. Batting 7th is Briley Klosterman after hitting 5th yesterday. So Coach Gillespie continues to move Klosterman up and down the lineup. Kind of reminds me of a Randy Arozarena type of role that we see Arozarena use with the Rays. They're just trying to get Briley Klosterman in what's going to be the best spot for her, trying to predict where the big spots are going to come up so her bat can be in the box. Batting 8th is Tristan Doster behind the plate. Doster making her 21st straight start behind the plate. And rounding out the lineup, and this is the change I was hinting at before, Avery Jackson is batting 9th and playing third base Jackson, who came in yesterday as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and stayed in the game defensively and got to hit once more. Jackson replaced Anna Streff, who typically plays second and bats ninth, but Streff been struggling a little bit at the plate as of late. So Avery Jackson gets the nod and will be starting out the hot corner. And in the circle is Jalen Adams. Adams, who is the one who got the start yesterday for the Hawkeyes. We predicted that would be Brianna Vasquez, but to how well Jalen Adams pitched in yesterday's ball game, Coach Gillespie decides to give her the nod. Yesterday, Adams went 6 innings, allowing 3 runs, but only one of them was earned. Over 4 hits, 1 strikeout, and walked 2. Those 2 walks were just hit by pitches that ran away from her. As Minnesota takes the field defensively, we'll finally get ready for first pitch in this game as our pregame coverage is about to come to a close. Iowa Hawkeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Iowa looking to spoil the sweep and win what would be their 5th Game 3 in Big Ten play this season. Stay undefeated in series finales. Iowa's wearing their black pinstripes today. Black jerseys with yellow lettering. It's a gold script across the chest and gold numbers across their back. Gold pants as well with black stirrups. And I'm trying to look at the pinstripes. Can't really tell if the pinstripes are white or if they are also gold. I believe they're gold. There's a nice trim to the jerseys as well. In Iowa this season, when they're wearing pinstripes, they're 4-2. So the third different jersey combo of the weekend for Iowa, trying to do whatever it takes to get back in the win column. So in the circle for Minnesota is J.C. Hambrick, and Nia Carter's going to lead things off. Carter yesterday 3 for 4, 2 for 3 during Game 1, 5 of the Iowa 11 hits as she takes strike 1, and we are officially underway. Nia Carter this season hitting just a tick below 500 to lead not only Iowa but the Big Ten. Watches ball 2 pass outside. So if we look at the Minnesota pitcher in J.C. Hambrick, now we're not going to be seeing the same type of stuff we've seen the last 2 days, but Hambrick is also a very quality pitcher in the circle. Carter shows bunt, pulls back, but it's a strike. So the count's 1-2. Hambrick, the transfer from Grand Canyon University, this year has posted a 2.65 ERA over 71 2/3 innings. Her 18th start of the year. The 1-2 changeup misses low, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nia Carter led off Game 1 on Friday with a double off the right field wall. Yesterday grounded out, but had reached safely in her 3 at-bats afterwards. Pulls one down the first baseline and trickles foul. Minnesota wearing their gold uniforms, so different than what we've seen the last 2 days from Minnesota. Gold uniforms with maroon pants, maroon stirrups, and those who are wearing sleeves, and that's most, are wearing maroon. Carter spoils another one, and the count's still 2-2. So after falling behind 1 ball and 2 strikes, Nia Carter has fouled off 2 tough ones just on the edge of the zone and is working a nice at-bat. So the count's 2-2. Carter stands in the left-handed batter's box, hits a weak ground ball towards the second baseman. Strelo comes up, fields it cleanly, and throws over to Cox at first for the first out of the ballgame. So to bring up Tatiana Roman now for the Hawkeyes. Yesterday, Roman went 1 for 4, had a bloop single in the right center field gap, and was thrown out trying to stretch a single into a double. Went 0 for 2 in Game 1 on Friday, so 1 for 6 so far. Hits a ground ball through the left side and reaches the outfield for a base hit. So first pitch swinging first pitch slapping, and Tatiana Roman has a one-out single. The third baseman in Kayla Chavez was playing so far up to try and stop the bunt for a hit off of the bat of Roman that she just didn't have a play on the ground ball just to her left side. So the Hawkeyes have a runner on first base. And Tori Bennett will come up now, swings first pitch and misses strike one. Yesterday, Bennett went 0 for 2, but had a base hit on Friday. Is 1 for 5 in the series. Bennett, a .318 hitter coming into the weekend. Behind 0-1. And fouls this one off, so Tori Bennett is quickly behind 0-2. Another cold one up in Minneapolis for this Game 3. It's not very much warmer in Iowa City. But in Minneapolis, it is 40 degrees, and here's a ground ball towards the shortstop. The flip over to second in time. The throw over to first is late. So Minnesota won't get the double play, but they do chop down the lead runner in Roman on the 6-4 fielder's choice. So 2 outs now as Sammy Diaz will come to the plate. Diaz, the newly named cleanup hitter. Yesterday, out of the 7 spot, Diaz went 1 for 2. And on Friday, out of the 5 spot, went 0 for 3. So, third game of the series, third different spot in the order for Sammy Diaz. Watches the first pitch curveball catch the outside corner, 0-1. And here's a changeup that misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Iowa looking for their first run of the weekend. In what is their first inning not facing Autumn Pease. J.C. Hambrick getting the Game 3 start. Diaz swings and misses on the fastball, and the count's 1-2. We've seen a lot of off speeds early out of the hand of Hambrick. And that was a fastball that just caught Diaz by surprise. So the count's 1-2. Bennett stands on first. Diaz in the box, watches a changeup miss low. So another off speed from Hambrick. Diaz gets back into the box. Hambrick waits the sign. Goes into the motion and the pitch. He's hit just off the end of the bat from Diaz to stay alive, 2-2. Bennett was going on the pitch. With a 2-2 count, we'll see if Bennett gets the green light again to try and swipe second. Diaz into the box, the 2-2 pitch. Is a changeup called strike 3 on the outer half. It just caught the black on the outside part of the plate. So the Hawkeyes get a base hit into left field, but they strand a runner at first base. After half an inning of play, we're still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowensWin.
Minnesota comes to bat for the first time today, and they'll be facing Hawkeye Jalen Adams. Adams, who got the start in yesterday's game and pitched very well, 6 innings, 3 runs, although 1 was earned, on 4 hits and striking out 1. A 2.18 ERA on the season for Adams in what's been a very good freshman season. A whip just a little bit over 1. And first batter she'll be facing is Kayla Chavez. Chavez went 0 for 3 yesterday in what ended what was a 10-game hitting streak for the Minnesota leadoff batter. So Adams' first pitch into the motion and misses inside, ball 1. Yesterday was a day in which we saw Jalen Adams really use her defense behind her. A 1 strikeout game. Now, she's never really been a dominant strikeout pitcher, as here's a fly ball into left field. Klosterman goes back towards the wall, but makes the catch about 10 feet in front of it for out number 1. As I was saying, Adams isn't typically a large strikeout pitcher, or at least hasn't been this season. Really was at Fort Dodge when she was in high school. But yesterday we really saw her using her defense behind her. Only 1 strikeout to the name. And was really making Minnesota put the ball in play. So now it's Amani Bradley who got the better of Adams yesterday with a 1-out triple in the bottom of the first inning down the right field line, and later came around and scored the first run of the game. She was, in fact, the only run of the game until the 5th inning. Watch strike 1 go by, watches a fastball go upstairs, ball 1, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, one of my favorite things that I love watching, that I love seeing when Jalen Adams is pitching, is how fast she works. As Bradley shows bunt, pulls back, but it's a strike, and it's 1-2. Adams doesn't dilly-dally when she's in the circle. She's getting the ball back from Doster behind the plate, and she's just hopping right back onto the rubber. She's already into the motion now with the 1-2, and here's a ground ball to Baines over at second base, sidearm throw to first, and she's got it. So quickly 2 away here after the 4-3 putout. And Jess Oakland will come to bat for Minnesota. Minnesota rocking a little bit of a different lineup from games 1 and 2 as well. Really, the only switches came from 3, 4, and 5. Jess Oakland and Taylor Kraft have both moved up a spot to 3 and 4 respectively, as a changeup is called strike 1. And Natalie Den Hartog, who hit a home run on Friday's game, has moved down from the 3 spot into the 5 hole. But right now it's Jess Oakland, the Minnesota shortstop, and she evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Oakland, who won the Big Ten Freshman of the Week last week. And she spits on one down the right field line, but it's going to slice foul. So Adams is quickly ahead, 1-2. Oakland, a .305 batter, after hitting .500 last week in a 3-game series with Michigan State. The 1-2 is fouled down the right field line again. So again, Adams is really not going into what has been her MO with 2 strikes this year. Rocking the fastball up and in the eyes. Maybe they're just trying to save that pitch count just a little bit more. Here's an off-speed, and it's poked out into right field for a base knock. So that's a 2-out single off the bat of Jess Oakland. It was an off-speed. That was it was a pretty good pitch from Adams. It was way out of the zone. I'm looking at the replay now. It was in the left-handed batter's box. And Jess Oakland just kind of poked her stick out at it and was able to sneaking past the outstretched glove of Diaz over at first. Now here's the first pitch to Kraft, who hits a hard ground ball. Nice backhand from Bennett. The long throw over is in time, and what a spectacular play from Tori Bennett. She ranged over to her right side, made the backhanded play on one knee, got up to her feet, made the quick exchange, and the strong throw over to first to end the inning. Looking at the replay now, what a play from freshman Tori Bennett. So Minnesota fails to score in the first inning. As we head to the top of the second, we're still tied. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
So the nice play from Tori Bennett gets the Hawkeyes out of the first inning. As Minnesota fails to score in the first, they scored what would turn out to be the game-winning run yesterday in the first inning, as the Hawkeyes still looking for their first run of the weekend. And to try and change that first is going to be Grace Baines, the Hawkeye second baseman. Baines yesterday went 1 for 3 with a line drive single into center field. It was her first hit in about 15 or 16 plate appearances. Watches ball one miss outside, 1-0. Went 0 for 3 during Game 1 on Friday. And this bit of a hitting slump is what's caused her to move down from 4 to 5. Fouls one off down the first base line. Counts 1-1. Iowa, a 28-19 record this season, and a perfect split 8-8 in conference play, looking to avoid dropping below 500 in the Big Ten as Baines watches strike 2 to make it 1-2 strikes. Hambrick takes the sign into the pitch, and the curveball misses outside, 2-2. Baines coming into the weekend, a 270 hitter, a 338 OBP. Looking to lead things off here in the top of the second. Hits a fly ball into shallow right field. In comes Burnett, who makes the two-handed catch for out number 1. So it'll bring up Denali Lecker now. Lecker, the 6-hole batter for Iowa, the designated player today. Had a nice hit in yesterday's game, a rocket into left field, in which he stayed through on a off-speed, low and in the zone. Watches strike 1, a fastball pumped into the lower inside corner. So the count's 0-1 to Lecker, who's hitting a touch below 250 this year. Hits a line drive towards second base, but caught by Strelo. Right at her. It was good off the bat of Lecker, but it just hit right at the second baseman in Sidney Strelo. So there are quickly 2 away here in the second inning. And Briley Klosterman will come to the plate. Klosterman, 270 hitter on the year, 370 OBP. Is another Hawkeye that's hitting 3 different batting spots in the lineup this weekend. Fouls off the first pitch 0-1. Game 1 on Friday was in the 8-hole. Game 2 yesterday had moved up to 5 and has dropped back down to 7 now. He's behind 0-1. And watches a off-speed miss just outside to even the count. On Friday, she went 1 for 3, and that one hit was one of the Hawkeye 4 hits, so a big reason why she moved up into the 5 spot. But went 0 for 3 yesterday. So it was 1 for 6 over the weekend. Watches ball 2. So it's ahead 2-1 now, and it's a hitter's count. Klosterman with the home run power. Has 3 long balls so far this season, second most on the squad. The 2-1 is popped up behind the press box. And the count evens again. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away here, and deuces are wild. So Hambrick spins the ball just on her hip. Now into the motion, and the pitch is fouled off again. So 2 balls and 2 strikes here. In the top of the second inning, 2 away. Hawkeyes looking to avoid going 3 up, 3 down. And here's a ground ball along the right side. Backhanded play by Strelo, second baseman. And the throw over is caught by Cox for out number 3. So Hawkeyes go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the second. As we head to the bottom half, we're still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Bottom of the second inning in Game 3 as the Hawkeyes look to avoid a sweep. Lost Game 1 Friday by a final score of 6-0 and lost Game 2 yesterday 3-0. And yesterday's game was a game in which the Hawkeyes actually out-hit Minnesota 7-4. Just the 4th time this season that the Hawkeyes lost when they've out-hit their opponents. Had mustered across 7 hits, but weren't able to push across a run. Minnesota only had 4 base knocks, but 2 Hawkeye errors allowed them to take the game. So now it'll be Natalie Den Hartog to lead off the bottom of the second inning for Minnesota. Den Hartog, the Golden Gopher center fielder. In yesterday's game, went 0 for 3 and went 1 for 2 on Friday with a big 2-run home run in the bottom of the third inning. They gave Minnesota a 2-0 lead. Jalen Adams is still in the circle for the Hawkeyes. And her first pitch of the second is popped along the third baseline foul territory. Avery Jackson has room and makes the play. So 1 pitch, 1 out in the bottom of the second for Jalen Adams. And now Sydney Strelo, Minnesota's second baseman. We had a nice pair of defensive plays just a half inning ago. 1 away in the bottom of the second. Patented Jalen Adams changeup misses high just by a touch, so the count's 1-0. Strelo yesterday, 1 for 2. 1 for 3 on Friday, so a hit in each game. And here's a fly ball into shallow left field. Bennett goes back. Klosterman comes on. Klosterman calls off Bennett and makes the play. So a pair of fly ball outs now in the second inning. And there are two away as Matty Elke will come to the plate. Matty Elke, the Minnesota DP, 293 hitter from the left side, a 370 OBP, 476 slugging. He has a home run on the season, too. Swings first pitch, hits a sky-high fly ball down the right field line in foul territory. And Diaz just runs out of room as it lands on top of the Minnesota batting cages. Elke 0 for 2 yesterday, 1 for 3 on Friday. The 0-1 is another patented Jalen Adams changeup, and this one catches the zone, so she's ahead 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 away in the bottom of the second inning. The 0-2 fastball misses outside. Elke wouldn't chase. 1-2. Adams' pitch count has been really good after the first inning and 2/3. He's just about to throw our 19th pitch of the game. And here's a ground ball to Diaz at first base. Diving play, gets up and steps on the bag on her own. So a couple of defensive web gems in back-to-back innings for the Hawkeyes. This time Diaz goes full extension to her right side. Gloves it, gets to her feet, and steps on the bag for the unassisted ground out after 2. We're scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
To the top of the third we go here in Minneapolis. Getting a look at Coach Gillespie, a 111 and 105 record with the Hawkeyes. In her 5th season at the helm of the girls in black and gold. Hawkeyes an 8-8 Big Ten record this season. Puts them right around the middle of the pack. Coming into the weekend, they were at 7th. But after dropping the first 2 of this series, they have dropped a couple of spots. But as I said, undefeated in Game 3s this season. And in the two series that they fell behind 0-2, they've came back to win Game 3 and avoid the sweep both times. Tristan Doster swings and misses at first pitch. 0-1. Doster, a .319 hitter on the year. 370 OBP, and has been a very serviceable bat in the lower part of the lineup for Coach Gillespie. The 0-1 misses outside. 1-1. Doster, who has really taken over the spot of the Iowa catcher, has caught every game in Big Ten play in 21 straight for the Hawkeyes. She's ahead 2-1 now. But she's still looking for her first hit of the weekend. Has gone 0 for 2 in both games. The 2-1 is cut on and missed. Strike 2. Went 2 for 9 a weekend ago against Maryland. So it's been a rough couple of games for the Hawkeye catcher. The 2-2 off speed misses outside on the changeup. And the count goes full. Doster leaned in a little bit to try, when was thinking about it, but was able to hold back and didn't chase. This is a Hawkeye team that struck out 22 times over the last 2 games. So the count is full, and Doster fouls one down the third baseline to stay alive. Doster, not someone who typically draws a lot of walks either, only 5 of them on the entire season. And you say that when we're just a touch under 50 games into the year. The full count pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. Curveball on the outer half of the zone. So J.C. Hambrick gets her second strikeout of the afternoon. And there is one away in the top of the third. Avery Jackson now, the Hawkeye batter. Jackson playing third base today. Came in yesterday's game as a pinch hitter in the top of the 5th inning and would stay in the game defensively in place of Anna Streff. Swings and misses strike 1. Jackson, a very good glove. Bit of a utility player that can play everywhere, but is still looking to find her spot with the bat. Went 0 for 2 in her 2 at-bats yesterday and struck out both times. Checks her swing, but just gets a piece of it and is quickly behind 0-2. I mentioned how Jackson's still trying to find her spot with the bat. The freshman from Illinois has come into the weekend as a 143 hitter and started the season 0 for 29. Behind 0-2 now, and watches ball 1 miss just outside on the curveball. 1-2. One away in the top of the third. Avery Jackson at the plate with a 1-2 count on her. And she swings and misses on the fastball, was late. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for J.C. Hambrick. There's 2 away as Nia Carter turns the lineup over for the Hawkeyes. Carter 0 for 1. Grounded out to second base in the first. But again, has 5 hits over the weekend. 5 of the Hawkeye 12 now, including the one from today's game. In both of the first 2 games, got out once in each of them. Hits a hard ground ball to shortstop, but it's actually going to be caught by Jess Oakland just before the short hop. So that'll go down as an L6 as the Hawkeyes go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the third, still looking for their first run. After 2.5, we're scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
To the bottom of the third inning we go. After 2.5, we're still scoreless. And it's going to be 8-9-1 due up in the Minnesota order. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Take a closer look and you'll discover the many connections you have to corn. And those connections translate into wins for farmers and wins for all Iowans. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Delaney Cox is going to bat first here in the bottom of the third inning for Minnesota. Cox, number 19, in the Minnesota first baseman. Jalen Adams still in the circle for her third inning of work. He's gone 2 innings and allowed just 1 hit. So Cox comes up, first pitch swinging, a slow ground ball to second base. Baines charges, throws on the run, and she's got it. Really nice play there from the Hawkeye second baseman in Grace Baines. Had to charge that ground ball, field it, and make the throw all in one motion. And she did it. That was a 1-2 step there from Grace Baines. In 1 pitch, 1 out. Back-to-back innings in which Jalen Adams is able to get the first pitch. He's able to get the first out on the first pitch. Breezy Burnett for Minnesota, starting right fielder wearing number 1. Watches strike 1 go past 0-1. Burnett's a player that we'll likely see him get pinch hit for later in the game, only hitting .220 this season. Went 0 for 2 yesterday. And 0 for 1 on Friday. Was pinch hit for twice in the game Friday. Watches ball 1, evens the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Burnett does have the power, though. 4 home runs out of the 9 spot for Minnesota. The 1-1, she shows bunt, pulls back. And it's a ball low. 2-1. Adams looking to continue and build off of what was a very good pitching performance yesterday. The 2-1 misses upstairs. And Adams falls behind 3-1. Including yesterday's start, this weekend Jalen Adams has thus far gone 8 1/3 innings and allowed only 1 earned run. And here's a weak pop fly on the infield. Grace Baines goes to her right, our left, and makes the catch for out number 2. So Grace Baines has made both plays this inning defensively for the Hawkeyes. Back to the top of the Minnesota order, and Kayla Chavez. Chavez is 0 for 1. Flew out to deep left field to lead off the bottom of the first. Minnesota leadoff hitter is a .333 hitter this season. Hits a hard ground ball down the left field line, but foul. Rocked an 0 for 3 yesterday in what ended a 10-game hitting streak for the Minnesota third baseman. Wears number 77. It's a very unique baseball and softball number. And really, I'd say a really unique number for any sport unless you're an offensive lineman. Hits a hard line drive down the left field line. And this one goes foul as well, but just barely. That one had 2 written all over it. Ooh, nearly gets hit in the head on the throw back in. Avery Jackson just catches it before it hits her helmet. So Adams is ahead 0-2. Still looking for her first strikeout. Only had 1 in yesterday's game. The 0-2 pitch is fouled off again down the left field line. So 3 pitches and 3 foul balls that have been pulled from Kayla Chavez. So she's a little bit out in front of everything. See if Adams will work the curveball or maybe her patented changeup and just put it on the black, or even farther outside than the black. Put it in the left-handed batter's box. Here it is. And Chavez just gets enough of it. It wasn't the Jalen Adams changeup, but it was a curveball way out of the zone. And Chavez did chase, but she fouled it off the netting. Stay alive. Counts 0-2. The pitch is a fastball yanked high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 is pulled down the line. This one was a fastball. And this one was yanked foul. A line drive that nearly hit the Iowa dugout. Now, of course, this pitch was inside, but you can see just how far out in front Kayla Chavez is of everything. So that's why I'm saying she needs to attack. Adams does with the off speeds away. And this one's pulled foul down the left field line again. And what is the 6th foul ball of the at-bat? And now we're going to have a meeting. Minnesota third base coach has called time and brought Kayla Chavez over to talk to her. Maybe she's recognized maybe she's seeing what I'm seeing. mean, how could you not? Out of 7 pitches she's seen this at bat, she's pulled and really just yanked 5 of them down the third baseline. The timing just appears to be off for the Minnesota leadoff batter in Kayla Chavez. But Adams is ahead 1-2 as Chavez gets back into the box, and here's an off-speed low and away, and the timing was fixed. Line drive out towards center field over the glove of Roman. It's going to reach the wall. Chavez will stop at second base, and that's a stand-up 2-out double. So the meeting with the third base coach appeared to have worked. It was an off-speed low and away, fixed the timing, was able to sit back on it, and Tatiana Roman had a play on it. But it looks like she misjudged it, ran over to her left. And the ball just kind of screamed over her head and over her outstretched glove. But Minnesota gets their second hit of the day and has a runner in scoring position for the first time. Amani Bradley is the batter who is 0 for 1 in the first inning, grounded out to Baines at second base. Watch ball 1 in the dirt, 1-0. But remember yesterday, Amani Bradley had the 1-out triple down the right field line. Later came around and scored the first run of the game for Minnesota. Now is the chance of driving in the first run. The 1-0 misses outside, 2-0. First base is open. So they could walk the Minnesota left fielder in Amani Bradley. The 2-0 is a fly ball in foul territory down the left field line. Klosterman has room and makes the catch just in front of the fence, the left field fence, that is, in foul territory for out number 3. So Jalen Adams gets around the 2-out double off the bat of Kayla Chavez. And after 3, we're still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oaknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
After 3, we're still scoreless in Game 3 between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers. Iowa has no runs on 1 hit, no errors. Have left 1 runner on. Minnesota no runs on 2 hits, and both of those players who had a hit have also been stranded. So a couple opportunities, or I should say not many opportunities, and when the opportunities have been there, neither team's been able to take advantage. Tatiana Roman to lead off the 4th. Has the 1 Hawkeye hit, a single into left field in the first inning. Watch the first pitch called a strike, and now evens the count at 1-1. See some flurries are now entering the air in Minnesota. We had some snow as well during Game 1, on Friday, right towards the tail end of our game. Roman watches strike 2. Now, on the weather app that I'm looking at, it says it's 41 degrees, and that's pretty much what it feels like, and doesn't say anything about snow. But there are clearly some flurries in the air. Ground ball back to Hambrick in the circle is gloved. Throw over to first is in time to retire Roman, so 1 away in the top of the 4th inning. Torrey Bennett, the Hawkeye batter, 0 for 1. Grounded into a 6-4 fielder's choice in the first. We are now 17 in a third innings into Hawkeye offense this weekend, and they're still looking for their first run after 17 innings and 1 out. Torrey Bennett watches the first pitch changeup get called strike, 0-1. Playing in snow is probably something new for a lot of these Hawkeye players. As Bennett watches the 0-1 miss low and inside, 1-1. For some of these Hawkeye players, such as Torrey Bennett and Jalen Adams, some Iowa high school players, because Iowa is the only state in which they play summer softball. Every other state plays in the spring, so they're somewhat used to playing in the colder weather. His ball misses high, 2-1. So Iowa, the only state that plays in the summer. So in typically warmer weather, so they're not used to really playing in the snow. I remember back to my baseball playing days, I only played in the snow a handful of times. His ball 3 misses outside, 3-1. I only played in the snow just a handful of times, and it was all during fall ball. Maybe the very beginning of spring ball, spring training, but never during the regular season. And here's a line drive into center field. Coming on is Den Hartog, who makes the shoestring catch for out number 2. That was really well hit off the bat of Bennett in shallow center field. But Den Hartog got a great jump, came sprinting in, and made the catch about halfway up her shin. So 2 up, 2 down as Sammy Diaz will step to the plate for Hawkeyes. 0 for 1, struck out looking. She swings first pitch, hits a fly ball in down the right field line. A diving Burnett cannot make the catch. It hits off her glove and rolls towards the side wall. Diaz rounds second and is heading to third. The throw over to third is not in time, and it's a 2-out triple for Sammy Diaz. Comes up first pitch swinging, takes a ball on the outer half, takes it the other way. Breezy Burnett, the Minnesota right fielder, comes sprinting on to make a spectacular diving catch, just hits off the tip of her glove. And as she dives, she hits it towards the side wall. And how the field's set up for drainage-wise, it just rolls all the way to the fence. And Diaz is able to stretch it out into a triple. So the Hawkeyes have their first runner in scoring position today in what is only their second extra base hit of the weekend. Grace Baines is going to have the opportunity to drive in the Hawkeyes' first run. 2 away here in the top of the 4th. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Baines is 0 for 1. Flew out to shallow right field in her first at-bat. Watches strike 2 cross the inside part of the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Baines, a .264 hitter. Hits .320 this season when runners are in scoring position. Ball 2 misses outside, 2-2. Has 22 RBIs on the season. A chance to add to that total now. The 2-2 is a weak ground ball in the infield, and it's going to go foul, says the home plate umpire. It hit Baines when she was in the box. Deuces are still wild. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. Sammy Diaz is on third after a 2-out triple. in what was Diaz's second triple of the season. And here's a ground ball on the infield. It's fielded by the shortstop, and Oakland's strong throw to first is in time for out number 3. Iowa gets a 2-out triple from Sammy Diaz, but she's stranded at third. And after 3.5, we're still scoreless. And we're 18 innings in. Hawkeyes still looking to their first run of the weekend. So we'll take a break after 3.5. We're scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
To the bottom of the 4th inning. Hawkeyes no runs on 2 hits, no errors. Have left 2 on. Minnesota no runs, 2 hits, no errors. Have left 2 on. So we're identical through 3.5. As Minnesota comes to bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jess Oakland is going to lead things off. Oakland has one of the 2 Minnesota hits. Singled on a hard ground ball into right field. Jalen Adams has gone 3 innings, allowed 2 hits. After going 6 innings yesterday, allowing 4 hits and only 1 earned run. The first pitch of the 4th is a ground ball back up the middle past the diving glove of Grace Baines. So leadoff base hit for Jess Oakland. I believe that is the first time today that either team has their leadoff batter on. So runner on first and Jess Oakland. Taylor Kraft will be the new Minnesota batter. The Minnesota catcher is 0 for 1, grounded out on that web gem of a play from Tori Bennett in the first inning, in which she made a backhanded play, fielded it from her knee, got to her feet, and made the strong throw all the way across the diamond to retire Kraft for the 3rd out. First pitch from Adams is a ball outside, 1-0. And here's a foul ball down the third baseline. Kraft helped Adams out a little bit there. That ball was up and in her eyes. One count. Iowa 0, Minnesota 0 in the bottom of the 4th inning. The pitch is a ground ball to Jackson over at third, knocks it down. The throw to second for the fielder's choice is late. Was going for trying to chop down the lead runner in Jess Oakland. But Oakland, who's fast from first base, beat the throw. It goes down as a failed fielder's choice. It was a nice try from Jackson, but Oakland was running hard out of the box, so Minnesota has runners on first and second with nobody out. We'll have a runner over at first base for the catcher Kraft. And the runner is Billy Connell, the freshman from Laverne, Minnesota. Natalie DenHartog is the Minnesota batter as pitching coach Mandy Gardner makes her way out to the circle to talk to Adams. DenHartog in what is a perfect spot, a perfect opportunity for a sacrifice bunt. Runners on first and second with nobody out. In what is a scoreless game, this is pretty much your ideal spot for a sacrifice bunt. Coach Mandy Gardner is still out there talking to Adams. As now we see some high fives. So runners on first and second, nobody away. After a leadoff single into center field and a failed fielder's choice on a ground ball to third. It won't go. It's not an error, for those wondering. It's not an error on the part of Avery Jackson. That's just what it goes down as statistically, a failed fielder's choice. She does show bunt does to Hartog, but it goes foul down the third baseline. It was bunted really hard too. It's rolling to the wall, the outfield wall. Tori Bennett had to chase that all the way back and was nearly even with Briley Klosterman. It was bunted that hard where it just rolled and rolled and rolled. So Adams is ahead 0-1 on to Hartog, who has 6 sacrifice bunts on the season. She shows bunt here, gets it down. Adams picks it up, throws over to first base in the covering Baines, and the Hawkeyes take the out. But Den Hartog does her job, and the Minnesota runners both advance a base. Oakland stands on third. Connell, the pinch runner, stands on second. Sydney Strelo is the Minnesota batter. First base is open. We'll see if Coach Gillespie decides to pitch around Strelo to put the force out on. But Strelo is not a typical good hit, is not typically a fantastic hitter for this Minnesota team. Watches strike one, 0-1. Strelo this season is hitting below 200, a 191 batting average, and is only hitting 192 when there are runners on base. The 0-1 is fouled off a pitch, ball up and in her eyes, and is behind 0-2. A strikeout would be a huge right now for Jalen Adams in what would be her first strikeout of the game. The 0-2 from Adams is pulled down the left field line, foul. So the count remains 0-2. Minnesota has runners on second and third with one away, looking to score the first run of the ball game. Here in the bottom of the fourth inning, Jalen Adams takes the sign into the motion, and the pitch is outside. Strelo thought about it but didn't pull the trigger. Counts 1-2. Adams back into the motion and the pitch. This one's fouled off again, so we'll do it all over again. Strelo is hung tough in this AB. Is looking to drive in what would only be her 14th RBI of the season. Back into the circle goes Adams, working quickly, and the pitch is an off-speed, pulled just foul and over the outstretched glove of Avery Jackson. I feel like both teams in that situation are feeling a little bit of a letdown and a little fortunate because the ball just missed Jackson's glove by about, I'd say, 6 inches, and the ball just missed going fair by about a foot. And Strelo fouls off another one down the left field line. So Strelo giving Klosterman a workout out in left field, having to chase down all these foul balls. Is now Strelo is going to go over and talk to the Minnesota third base coach. Remember last time we saw this, in which a Minnesota batter was pulling everything foul down the left field line because they were early. There was a little chit-chat between their third base coach and the batter. And then the very next pitch on an off-speed low and away, they were able to drive one into center field for a 2-out double. But there's one away, runners on second and third. In the bottom of the fourth inning, Minnesota looking to score the first run of the game. The count is 1-2 as we're about ready to throw the 8th pitch of the at-bat is Adams. Here's a fly ball in shallow left field. That's not going to be deep enough to get the run in. Klosterman makes the catch, the throw home. Yeah, and they're not going to test the arm. It was a great throw from Briley Klosterman, and that's a big out for Jalen Adams. A fly ball in shallow left center field. But it was hit so shallow that Briley Klosterman, who has a really good arm out in left, would have had Jess Oakland, the Minnesota runner at third, would have had her before she was about even halfway down the line. So there's 2 away now as Maddie Elke steps into the box. Elke 0 for 1. Adams misses outside 1-0. In Elke's first plate appearance, she grounded out to Sammy Adams on a diving play over at first base, in which Adams dove to her barehanded side, so her right side, and got to her feet and stepped on the bag. Adams misses one way upstairs, and the Hawkeyes are fortunate that Tristan Doster was just able to get her glove on it and avoid the pass ball. A couple of players getting loose down in the Hawkeye bullpen. Denali Lecker and Brianna Vasquez. As Adams' pitch count is doing well, but this is a tight game in which the Hawkeyes really need to win, at least for morale purposes. The 2-0 misses low and away, so it's a 3-ball, no-strike count to Maddie Elke. First base is open, so a walk's not bad, but with Delaney Cox, the batter, scheduled on deck, we would likely see a pinch hitter in this situation. Likely going to be Addison Leshber, which is what we saw yesterday. The 3-0 pitch from Adams is called strike 1, counts 3-1. Minnesota threatening to score the first run of the game. Have runners on second and third with 2 outs. A base hit will likely score 2, with the pinch runner and Billy Connell standing at second base. The 3-1 pitch misses inside, so Adams has now walked. The bases loaded, and we will in fact see the pinch hitter for Delaney Cox, and I was right. It's number 3, Addison Leshber. So I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I'm predicting this, coach. I'm Minnesota head coach Piper Ritter. I'm predicting everything. We're playing chess out here. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. We're not making a call to the pin yet. Jalen Adams is going to get to face Leshber. Leshber yesterday, in her pinch hit, was walked. A walk here would score a run. Swings first pitch on a ball out of the zone, and pulls it foul down the right field line. The left-handed bat of Leshber. Leshber is a freshman from Thrall, Texas. 254 this season, 18 hits and 71 at-bats. His 14 RBIs, looking to add a couple more. The 0-1 misses low, count evens 1 apiece. This season for Leshber, she's hitting .227 with runners in scoring position. The count's 1-1 at the moment. And here's a ground ball pulled foul down the right field line. So it's quickly 1-2 for Jalen Adams against Addison Leshber. Bases loaded, 2 outs. This is the moment that you dream of as a kid. A chance to give your team the lead late in the ballgame. Bottom of the 4th inning in a scoreless affair. Minnesota looking for the sweep. Iowa looking to stay perfect in series finales. The 1-2 pitch. He's fouled off. We're going to make the dramatics happen all over again. Iowa a perfect 4-0 this season in Game 3s of Big Ten play. Have fallen behind 0-2 twice this year as this ball misses outside 2-2. Have fallen behind 0-2 in 2 series this year, but in both scenarios came back to win Game 3 and avoid the sweep. Minnesota's already locked up the series win, winning their 4th of their 5 Big Ten series this year. In looking for the sweep. The 2-2 pitch. Misses low, so the count goes full. This is what we're talking about. This is where we get the dramatics. It's full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th inning. A walk here puts the first run across the board. The full count pitch is a ground ball to second base. Baines fields it. The throw over is in time for the out at first base. So Minnesota has runners on second and third with 1 away, but some brilliant pitching from Jalen Adams gets her out of the jam, and we head to the top of the 5th inning, still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
We head to the top of the 5th inning. The Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers are scoreless in Game 3 of our 3-game series. Both teams have no runs on 3 hits and no errors. The difference is Minnesota has left 5 runners on base as Denali Lecker comes up first pitch swinging and lines a single into left field. A leadoff base hit for Denali Lecker. And if I know Coach Gillespie like I think I do, we're going to see a runner for Lecker over at first base, and it'll likely be 0-0 Haley down. And I was correct. So again, I'm going to toot my own horn. When you watch softball as much as I do, you start to recognize when things are going to happen. So Haley down is our runner over at first base. Pinch runner for Denali Lecker. After Lecker went first pitch swinging and lined a base hit into left field. I didn't even get the chance to tell you about the new Minnesota pitcher. And G.C. Hambrick is done for the day. We have a new pitcher in Sidney Schwartz for Minnesota. Updating the stats. Here's a ground ball to second base. The flip over to short is in time. The throw over to first is over the head. Hits the wall. So Klosterman reaches on the fielder's choice. Just barely avoids the double play. But the 4-6 fielder's choice cuts down the pinch runner. The new pitcher for Minnesota is Sidney Schwartz, who has a 5.01 ERA on the season in 29 1/3 innings pitched. Tristan Doster is the new Hawkeye batter. Hits a ground ball to shortstop. That throw over to second is in time, and over to first is made for the double play, so that's a 6-4-3 double play. So the Hawkeyes get the leadoff runner on a single, but a fielder's choice and a double play ends the inning. And what was I believe, a 3-pitch inning. 4-pitch. Klosterman swung at the second pitch. So the Hawkeyes go quietly again in the top of the fifth as we head to the bottom half. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
We just finished the fifth inning stretch.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi.
Sorry about that, experiencing some technical difficulties with our laptop. So an advertisement started playing, but no advertisements here, where it's time for the bottom of the fifth inning. As Jalen Adams pumps in strike one, she makes her way back out to the circle. We have a pinch hitter for Minnesota in the 9 spot in place of Breezy Burnett. It's Nani Valencia, number 21. Valencia, a 5'7" freshman from Georgetown, Kentucky. She's behind 0-2. Watches ball one miss upstairs. Minnesota last inning had runners on first and second with nobody out, elected for the sac bunt to move them up to second and third with one away. As there's a swing and a miss from Valencia, and Adams gets her first strikeout of the afternoon, one away in the top of the fifth. Back to the top of the order for Minnesota, and Kayla Chavez. Chavez is 1 for 2. Flew out to left field and doubled to center in the third. Here's a hard ground ball that just goes foul down the third base line. So one pitch in this at-bat. And remember, this is Chavez, who is ahead on everything and yanking everything down the line before eventually being able to sit back on an off-speed on the outside part of the plate and send it into center field. Watches the 0-1 fastball miss up high, 1-1. Adams approaching 70 pitches on the day. As here's another foul ball pulled down the left field line. It's almost comical at this point. I actually am finding myself laughing because if she's swinging, I'm not laughing at her. I'm just laughing because if she's swinging, she's pulling the ball down the left field line because she's so far out in front. Here's the 1-2, and here's a fly ball down the left field line. There's going to be room in foul territory, though, as Briley Klosterman makes the catch right on the line for out number 2. I wonder what Kayla Chavez's season-long spray charts look like, or if it's just a little bit of a funk that she's in right now. So with 2 away, Amani Bradley will be the Minnesota batter. Bradley is 0 for 2. His flied out in foul territory and grounded out to second. Adams' pitch misses outside, 1-0. Jalen Adams has gone 4 2/3 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits, has 1 strikeout. Her 1-0 pitch, and she catches her feet a little bit as we have an illegal pitch, a balk called on her. So it's an automatic ball, and the count's 2-0. Adams finally taking, for the first time today, is taking her time between pitches after catching her feet on the rubber. And the 2-0 pitch is a fly ball into shallow right field. Carter comes on and makes the catch. Just outside the lip between the outfield grass and the edge of the dirt. So 3 up, 3 down for Minnesota as we head to the top of the 6th inning. We're still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
We head to the top of the 6th inning. Between the Hawkeyes and Minnesota, Iowa no runs on 3 hits, no errors. Minnesota no runs on 3 hits, no errors. In what's been a pitcher's duel. And after 19 innings at the plate this weekend, Iowa's still looking for that first run. Last weekend against Maryland, scored 2 in the first, were shut out in the second, and scored 2 in the third. And there are 3 games this weekend. Were shut out on Friday, shut out yesterday, and have been held scoreless through 5 innings today. 9-1-2 due up in the Hawkeye order to change things. University of Iowa Healthcare has the game plan for your same-day healthcare needs. If you need treatment for a common illness or minor injury, visit one of several UI Quick Care or Urgent Care locations throughout the Iowa City-Cedar Rapids corridor. Their care and expertise will help you get back in the game. UI Healthcare is proud to sponsor your Iowa Hawkeyes. Avery Jackson to lead things off, behind 0-1. Struck out in the third, and in this series is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And ball 1 skims across the dirt. So Coach Gillespie is still looking for who can take over that final infield spot between Avery Jackson and Anna Streff. Streff typically has been getting the starts, but after her struggles, Avery Jackson took the spot. His ball 2 misses up high, 2-1. And in this series, both girls are 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. So Hawkeyes just trying to find something, some kind of spark in the 9-hole. The 2-1 pitch misses low, so Jackson is ahead on the 3-1 count. Has 6 walks on the season in her limited playing time. He's ahead 3-1 now. As Sydney Schwartz is still in the circle in relief for Minnesota. And here's a fly ball nicely hit into left field, but right at the left fielder, Bradley, who makes the catch for out number 1. One away as Iowa turns the lineup over with Nia Carter due up. Carter, who's 0 for 2, but has 5 hits over the weekend Went 2 for 3 in Game 1, 3 for 4 yesterday, but is 0 for 2 today. Had a nice piece in her last AB. Shows bunt, misses it, strike one. In the third inning, she lined one right at the shortstop in Jess Oakland, who made the catch just before the short hop. Behind 0-1. And here's a weak ground ball that goes foul. So Nia Carter is quickly behind 0-2. A .476 hitter. Leads the Big Ten in batting average and in hits. Perfect candidate for a leadoff batter. The 0-2 pitch. Misses way outside, ball one. And again, Carter is someone who also draws her walks. She loves to hit, but she will take the walk as well as 17 of them this year. That's tied for the second most on the team with Denali Lecker. The 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed, so a very rare strikeout for Nia Carter. Carter is one of 5 players in the Big Ten who has struck out 5 times or less this season. So what is only her 6th strikeout of the year. With 2 away, Tatiana Roman will be the Hawkeye batter. Roman 1 for 2. Singled in the first and grounded out back to the pitcher. Watches strike 1, 0-1. One of the 3 Iowa hits this afternoon. Iowa's only gotten their leadoff batter on once this game. The 0-1 misses upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. When Iowa gets runners on base, they are 0 for 5. But again, Tatiana Roman is one of the Hawkeyes who does have a hit in this game. The 1-1 is called strike. Just caught the outside corner. Roman checked her swing, but the umpire called it a strike on the pitch. So Roman's behind 1-2. The pitch is flied out into shallow right center field, and it will drop over the outstretched glove of Strelo, the second baseman. So that's a 2-out bloop single for Tatiana Roman. Nice piece of hitting there with 2 strikes. Hawkeyes' 4th hit of the game and their 2nd one with 2 outs. So now Tori Bennett is the Hawkeye batter. Bennett's 0 for 2. Went 0 for yesterday, but had a hit on Friday. Ball 1 misses low. Tatiana Roman represents the go-ahead run over at first base. 3 for 5 in stolen bases this season. Tori Bennett still looking for her first home run of her college career. Leads the team in doubles, and with Roman speed, a double would give the Hawkeyes the lead. Rips one down the left field line and foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bennett top 10 in the Big Ten in hits this season coming into the weekend. The 1-1 pitch from Schwartz. Misses outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. A walk would put the go-ahead run in scoring position for the Hawkeyes. Iowa as a team today is 0 for 6 when they have runners on base. The 2-1 is a ground ball along the left side. Shortstop Oakland comes on, flip to second for the force out is made. Hawkeyes get a 2-out hit from Tatiana Roman, but she's stranded at first base. As we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, Iowa 0, Minnesota 0. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
To the bottom of the sixth we go as Jalen Adams makes her way back out to the circle in a 0-0 ball game, and the Hawkeyes are out hitting Minnesota in this one 4-3, and this is after out hitting the Golden Gophers in yesterday's game too, 7-4, but still lost. Only the fourth time this season Iowa out hit their opponent and still lost the game. Right now they are out hitting Minnesota, but of course they have had an extra half inning at the plate. Jalen Adams in the circle to face Jess Oakland, who's 2 for 2 against her today. First pitch is a ball upstairs, and this is a fly ball now. In center field, Roman comes on and catches the can of corn. And there is one away now. Adams has looked very good this weekend. And very good is kind of an understatement. With 6 innings yesterday, allowing 3 runs, but only 1 of them earned. Has gone 5 1/3 shutout so far today. Pitch count's in great shape. At 77, with 1 out here in the 6th. And we have a foul ball, I believe, off the bat of Taylor Kraft. I think the ball was missed high out of the hands of Adams. And Kraft, who was just going through her normal approach, the barrel of the bat was left out just a little bit far. And the ball was so high it just hit off the end of the bat. So it'll go down as a foul ball. The 0-1 misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. One away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Minnesota looking for the series sweep. Iowa looking to stay undefeated in Game 3s. A perfect 4-0, trying to look for 5-0. 1-1 misses inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Both Lecker and Vasquez are warmed up in the bullpen for Iowa. Have to imagine if Adams gets in any trouble, Coach Gillespie's going to hand the ball off to one of her other 2 ace pitchers. It's been really a 3-headed monster in this Iowa pitching staff. The 2-1s foul down the third baseline. 2-2. The Hawkeyes team ERA is first in the Big Ten this year, coming into the weekend, a 2.25 ERA for the entire squad. They have 3 pitchers, which is really the 3 Iowa pitchers that get most of the time in the circle. 3 pitchers in the top 10 in the league in ERA. Coming into the weekend, Vasquez was 7th, Lecker 9th, and Adams 10th. Those numbers are obviously going to change after this weekend's results. Here's another foul ball down the left field line. Say those are going to change, obviously, because after yesterday's performance and today's performance, Jalen Adams has gone 11 1/3 innings, only allowing 1 earned run. She's got a 2-2 count now to Taylor Kraft. The 2-2 is hit foul. This Minnesota team has been very good with 2 strikes all weekend. If I can look at Brianna Vasquez's numbers real quick from Friday, she had 5 strikeouts. So that's about her MO. It's about her average. Adams only had one yesterday. A Minnesota team that's been very, very good in their two-strike approach. The 2-2 misses high, so the count is full. If I look at their strikeout numbers coming into the weekend, it actually this must be a very specific approach they're taking this weekend, because they'd struck out 201 times, which was the fourth worst in the Big Ten. And here's a line drive out to left field. Klosterman to her right towards the line and makes the catch sliding to her knees for out number 2. A nice catch there from the Hawkeye left fielder, Briley Klosterman. Ranged over to her right and made the catch, falling down onto both of her kneecaps and save what would have been an extra base hit. 2 away. Natalie DenHartog, the Minnesota batter who had a 2-run home run on Friday in the bottom of the 3rd inning that gave Minnesota a 2-0 lead. And obviously a home run now would quite clearly change the nature of this game. Watches the first pitch called strike, 0-1. And here's a hard ground ball down the left field line. Past the diving glove of Jackson. It's a fair ball, and it's going to roll to the wall. DenHartog stops at second. And as a stand-up 2-out double, Minnesota has a runner in scoring position in the bottom of the 6th. Avery Jackson, the Hawkeye third baseman, gave a good effort at it, diving at the ball down the left field line, but it was hit so hard off the bat of DenHartog. Jackson didn't have a play on it, and it rolled to the wall. As Coach Mandy Gardner now makes her way out to the circle to talk with freshman Jalen Adams. Adams has gone 5 2/3 innings. No runs on 4 hits, 1 strikeout and 1 walk. Has allowed the Minnesota team to get their runners on, but as Minnesota has left 5 runners on base. They're 0 for 5 as a team when runners are on, and 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Jalen Adams has had a very good weekend thus far. We'd hate to see it end on a sour note, such as giving up the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hawkeyes are going to stick with her in the circle. She's going to keep the ball in her hand. As Sydney Strelo will be the Minnesota batter. Strelo is 0 for 2. Has flown out twice to Klosterman and left. 2 away, the go-ahead run stands on second. Adams' pitch is inside, ball 1. Adams' pitch count just a tick under 90 after throwing 100 yesterday. Her 1-0 pitch is pulled foul. One ball and 1 strike. Iowa 0, Minnesota 0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Iowa has gone 20 innings this weekend without scoring a run. But the Iowa pitching staff has been able to keep them close in all these games. The 1-1 curveball misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to the Minnesota second baseman. The 2-1 is fly down the right field line, and it's going to fade foul. So deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Go-ahead run stands on second base, and Natalie DenHartog. Sydney Strelo is the Minnesota batter against Jalen Adams. Adams into the motion and the pitch. He is flied into center field. Shallow coming on, and a diving play from Tatiana Roman is going to save a run for the Hawkeyes. Tatiana Roman comes in on a line drive in shallow center field and makes a diving play to rob Sydney Strelo of a base hit and stop Minnesota from scoring the first run of the game. Really nice play there from the Iowa center fielder. So we've played 6. We're headed to the top of the 7th. We're still scoreless. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
We're going to have a pitching change for Minnesota, and their third pitcher of the game, as Bree Enter will enter the game. Enter a 3.61 ERA. Over 33 innings pitched. Her first batter will be Sammy Diaz, who watches ball 1 low and outside. 1-0. And ball 2 misses up and out. 2-0. Sammy Diaz is 1 for 2. Struck out looking and tripled on a fly ball into right field. Was stranded at third base as there were 2 outs when she hit it. And here's a ground ball on the right side. Nice glove by Strelo. Backhanded flip to first is in time. Really nice play from the Minnesota second baseman and Sydney Strelo. Grace Baines now has the chance to put the Hawkeyes in front. Baines 0 for 2. He's flown out and grounded out. Only has 1 hit over the weekend. Fouls the first pitch off the netting. Strike 1. Baines a .260 hitter. Including today's game is 1 for 7. And watches 1 miss upstairs, 1-1. She's 1 for her last 19, but this coming off of what was a 10-game hitting streak. The 1-1 pitch is a hard ground ball back up the middle, off the glove of Enter. Oakland comes on to make the play, but it is not in time. Grace Baines digs it out, and that's a single for the Hawkeye second baseman. Hit it hard off the bat on 1 hop. It hit off Enter the pitcher's glove. Jess Oakland, the Minnesota shortstop, came charging in to make the play after the deflection, but was late on it. And the Hawkeyes have a 1-out single. Here's a fly ball from Lecker into right field, and a can of corn for Breezy Burnett. And there are now 2 away. Two outs. Grace Baines stands on first as the go-ahead run for the Hawkeyes. Klosterman at the plate watches ball 1 outside. Klosterman 0 for 2. Has grounded out twice, one of them on a really hard hit ground ball. And the count evens at 1-1. home run here from Klosterman would give the Hawkeyes a 2-0 lead. Has 3 of them on the season. Fouls off the 1-1. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Grace Baines over at first base is 1 for 1 in stolen bases this year. Bree Enter is the new Minnesota pitcher, and she's now walking around behind the circle trying to clear her head a little bit. Klosterman steps into the box. And the 1-2 is missed. And it hits off the glove of Kraft behind the plate, and Baines recognizes it and will take second base. That's going to go down as a pass ball for Taylor Kraft, the Minnesota catcher, and Iowa now has a runner in scoring position, the go-ahead run in scoring position. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Baines stands on second, Klosterman at the plate. The pitch is lined into center field. It's going to drop in front for a base hit. The throw home is not in time. The run scores safely. Grace Baines slides in head first, and that's an RBI single for Briley Klosterman. Hawkeyes lead it 1-0. A great piece of hitting on a ball a little bit low in the zone. Klosterman takes it out into center field. Den Hartog, the Minnesota center fielder, fields it on 1 hop. Makes a really strong throw home. But Baines was running hard around third and slides in headfirst safely just in front of the tag. Iowa leads it 1-0. That pass ball off the glove of Taylor Kraft proves to be detrimental, as that allowed Baines to advance to second and get in scoring position. If she wasn't standing on second base, she wouldn't have been able to score on that single from Klosterman. Doster's at the plate even at 1-1. Klosterman advanced to second on the throw. But the Hawkeyes lead it 1-0 as Doster swings through another one, counts 1-2. Iowa leads it 1-0 here in the top of the 7th inning after the 2-out single from Briley Klosterman. Doster watches ball 2 outside on the curveball, and it's 2-2. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed from Doster for strike 3. But the Hawkeyes get the ever so important run on the RBI single from Briley Klosterman. Gets a big hug from Haley Down outside the dugout. As we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Hawkeyes lead it 1-0 after some late inning theatrics. With 1 out, Grace Baines singled on a hard ground ball back up the middle. It hit off the glove of Bree Enter, who's the new Minnesota pitcher. It hit off her glove, and Baines was able to beat the throw. And reach on the infield single. Lecker flew out to right for the 2nd out, and then on a passed ball, hit off the glove of the catcher Taylor Kraft. It allowed Baines to advance from first to second base. And then on the next pitch, the very next pitch, Briley Klosterman singles on a line drive into center field. Natalie Den Hartog, the Minnesota center fielder, fielded it off 1 hop, made a really good throw, but Baines was able to slide in headfirst safely and give the Hawkeyes their first run of the weekend. Jalen Adams is back out there in the circle for Iowa. Has gone 6 scoreless innings thus far. Has 1 shutout on the year. It was against Syracuse in a 7-0 victory earlier in the season. Leading things off for Minnesota will be Maddie Elke at 7, 8, 9 in the Gopher order. Elke watches strike one on the outside corner, 0-1. Jalen Adams, who has gone 6 innings, allowed no runs on 4 hits. Low strikeout totals have kept her pitch count in perfect shape. The 0-1 changeup misses outside, 1-1. The one area you could say that Adams has struggled today is getting the first out of the inning. The 1-1 is fouled off. So it's 1-2. Maddie Elke, who represents the game-tying run, is at the plate. And now the umpires are going to have a discussion out in the center circle. Not really sure what it's about. It's a short meeting, as the umpires have already made their way back to their respective positions. Elke has 1 home run on the season for Minnesota. A tall left-handed batter serves as the DP. Adams gets back into the circle, takes the sign, 1-2 count, and the pitch is a fly ball into deep left center field. Back, it's at the wall, and it's off the wall. Klosterman fields it. The throw into second is late. And Maddie Elke missed the home run by about 2 feet. But she's got a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Getting a closer look at the replay, and I'd say it was closer to about 4 feet. But Maddie Elke just missed on getting the game-tying home run in the bottom of the 7th inning. She stands on second. And Delaney Cox, who re-entered the game a while ago, shows bunt, gets it down, and Avery Jackson picks it up, and the throw over to third is called for interference on Tori Bennett. Wow. Wow, and Coach Gillespie is out talking to the umpire. The umpire is saying Tori Bennett blocked the bag and didn't give Elke a chance to slide in safely. The tag was definitely applied in time, but this is not a reviewable play. You can't change this. This isn't a chance you could change it on. Delaney Cox showed bunt, got it down the third baseline. Avery Jackson came charging in, threw over to third to the covering Tori Bennett to get Elke at the third base bag. But our third base umpire called Elke safe after saying Tori Bennett did not give Elke the chance to slide in safely, didn't give her a fair shot at the bag. It's a really, really tough spot to call that if you're an umpire. Cox is still at first base. So there's runners on the corners with nobody out. The Iowa defense will likely be playing in. It's Breezy Burnett at the plate, who's the 9-hole batter for Minnesota. So if you're asking, well, maybe should you put the batter on to load the bases and make it a force play? Well, you don't want to turn the lineup over. Breezy Burnett watches strike one called. Runners on the corners with nobody out. Maddie Elke represents the game-tying run at third. Delaney Cox is the game-winning run at first. And here's a hard ground ball pulled foul. So the count is quickly 0-2. A strikeout would be really nice. to say the least. The count's 0-2. Burnett in the box and doesn't chase at a really good fastball up and in the eyes by Adams. Burnett doesn't chase it, so the count is 1-2 strikes. Hawkeyes lead by 1 in the bottom of the 7th. And here's a fly ball in foul territory, but it's going to find the seats. We thought that maybe Avery Jackson was going to have a play off of it off the bat, but it carried into the stands by quite a bit, actually. So the count is still 1-2. Adams over 100 pitches now on the day. The 1-2 pitch, run in and it hit her. Breezy Burnett is hit by the pitch to load the bases for Minnesota. But again, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it puts the force play on at home. But the question is now, here's your problem if you're Iowa defensively. You're going to go infield in because you don't want the game-tying run to score. But when you're playing infield in, that means your infielders don't have a good a chance of knocking other plays down. Stuff that's typically in their range, but it's just, since they're playing much farther in, they don't have a quick of reaction time. So they're not going to be able to field everything. So that means more balls are going to reach the outfield. And the problem with that is the game-winning run is now on second base. So it puts a bit of a dilemma for the Hawkeyes, and we're going to have a pitching change. So Jalen Adams' day is done in the circle. She's going to hand the ball off to Brianna Vasquez, the Iowa ace. Adams' final stat line, she went 6+ innings, is responsible for all 3 runners on, gave up 5 hits, no runs, struck out 1, and walked 1. Brianna Vasquez is the new Hawkeye pitcher. This season, she has a 1.99 ERA, a whip just over 1, a 16-5 record, over 130 innings pitched. In what is only her 5th relief appearance on the season. Her 26th appearance overall, but only the 5th time coming out of the bullpen. And she comes in a tough spot. The bases are loaded with nobody out. The game-tying run is on third. The go-ahead run is on second, and she's facing the top of the Minnesota order. Kayla Chavez is the Minnesota batter. Chavez, who went 2 for 3 against Vasquez on Friday. So Vasquez is into the motion and her first pitch, and here's a fly ball in the outfield. Klosterman's going to make the catch. We're going to see a play at the plate. Klosterman, her throw home is cut off by Jackson. Elke slides in headfirst safely. So Kayla Chavez gets her job done and ties the game. It goes down as a sac fly. Neither Cox nor Burnett advanced from first and second. So just Elke scored as the game-tying run. So after Iowa took a 1-0 lead in the top of the 7th, Minnesota is able to tie things up in the bottom half. So runners on first and second with 1 away, and Amani Bradley is the Minnesota batter. And Vasquez misses up and out for ball 1. Against Vasquez on Friday, Bradley went 0 for 3. The 1-0 is pumped in there for a strike, 1-1. This game is tied. Iowa 1, Minnesota 1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Minnesota had the bases loaded with nobody out, able to tie the game on a sacrifice fly from Kayla Chavez. Ball 2 misses outside, and it's 2-1. And Bradley shows bunt, puts it down the third base line. Jackson fields it barehanded and has no play anywhere. Just eats the ball, and that's going to go down as a bunt hit for Amani Bradley. And the bases are loaded again. And there's one away, and the Hawkeye defense will be playing in. 3-hole batter, and Jess Oakland's at the plate. Oakland is 2 for 3 today. Everything she's hit has gone to the outfield. Has singled on a couple of hard grounders and flied out. Anything in the outfield would win the game for Minnesota. First pitch misses inside, 1-0. This is a week after in which Iowa walked off Maryland in Game 3 of their series to avoid getting swept and are on the brink of getting walked off now. And here's a pop fly that's going to stay on the infield in foul territory. Avery Jackson makes the catch in front of the third base dugout, and that's a huge out for the Hawkeye defense. A pop fly that stayed on the infield in foul territory off the bat of Jess Oakland. And Avery Jackson came over and made the catch just in front of the third base dugout. So now there are 2 away with the bases loaded. And Taylor Kraft is the Minnesota batter. Kraft is 0 for 3. Has grounded out twice and lined out to Klosterman, who made a diving catch in the 6th inning. A base hit wins it for Minnesota. Brianna Vasquez, who's in relief, came in with the bases loaded and nobody out. And here's a line drive down the left field line, but foul. Jess Oakland, who came up in a big spot for Minnesota, bases loaded, 1 out, but popped it up and kept it on the infield. Failed to push the run across. Taylor Kraft looking to do something a little bit different. Behind 0-1, doesn't chase up in the zone, 1-1. Iowa, who scored the go-ahead run in the top of the 7th inning off of a 2-out single from Briley Klosterman. Minnesota's able to tie things up in the bottom half. And here's a foul ball that goes into the right field bleachers. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hawkeyes are a strike away from getting out of the jam and going into extras. One ball and 2 strikes. Vasquez into the motion and the pitch. And here's a fly ball in center field. Roman has trouble with the wind. She's coming on and makes the two-handed catch for out number 3. So the Hawkeyes get out of the jam, but not before Minnesota is able to tie the game. We're headed to the top of the 8th inning. We're tied at 1 apiece. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Hi, I'm Lucas Strain, and you've been listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network. We're heading to the top of the 8th inning. After Iowa took the lead, a 1-0 lead in the top of the 7th, but Minnesota was able to tie things up in the bottom half. So we head to the top of the 8th. This year in extra innings, Minnesota is 2-3. Hawkeyes are 2-4. Iowa their most recent extra inning game, on Saturday, April 1st, a 8-3 loss in 10 innings to the Northwestern Wildcats. So we're going to have a pitching change for Minnesota as well. And it's Autumn Pease who shut out the Hawkeyes in Game 1 and Game 2 of the series. She's coming in relief to try and help Minnesota get the sweep. Avery Jackson is leading off for Iowa. She's 0 for 2. Struck out in the 3rd and flew out to left in the 6th. The 1-1 is fouled off over the first base dugout, and the count's 1-2. Minnesota looking for the sweep. Iowa looking to stay undefeated in Game 3s this year. A perfect 4-0. Looking for 5-0. The 1-2 was swung on and missed by Jackson, so she strikes out for the second time, and Autumn Pease continues where she left off over the last 2 games and gets a strikeout. Autumn Pease has now pitched 14 1/3 innings this weekend against the Hawkeyes and gotten 23 strikeouts. Nia Carter, as the Hawkeyes go back to the top of the order, she fouls one off the netting, strike 1. So 43 outs has Autumn Pease pitched. 43 of them, and 23 of them have come via the strikeout. Ahead 0-1 now to Nia Carter. Misses inside, 1-1. Carter is really the only Hawkeye who's had any success against Pease this weekend. Went 5 for 7 against her in games 1 and 2, and she's gone 0 for 3 against everybody else. The 1-1 to Carter. Misses inside again. 2-1. Iowa has 1 run on 6 hits, no errors. Minnesota has 1 run on 6 hits, no errors. But the kick is they've left the bases loaded twice. Carter hits a fly ball into shallow right field. Coming in is Burnett, who makes the catch right about her waist. And there are 2 away in the top of the 8th. Due up in the Minnesota lineup in the bottom half will be 5, 6, 7 with Den Hartog, Strelo, and Elke. Batting right now for the Hawkeyes is Tatiana Roman. Roman, who is the only Hawkeye with multiple hits today. She is 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. Swings and misses first. Strike 1. In games 1 and 2 against Pease, Roman went 1 for 6 watches strike two, so the count is quickly no balls and 2 strikes to the Iowa center fielder. Top of the 8th inning in Game 3 of this series. Pease is 0-2 pitch. Outside, ball 1. The 1-2 is on its way into the motion and fouled off. Roman stays alive. So the count's still 1-2. Autumn Pease in relief for Minnesota after starting games 1 and 2. Tatiana Roman has a pair of hits today, looking to make it a 3-hit day. And she pokes one down into left field past a couple of diving gloves, and it reaches the outfield. So that's a 2-out single for Tatiana Roman, and she moves to 3 for 4. It just hit off the outstretched diving glove of Jess Oakland, the Minnesota shortstop, before trickling into left field. Roman thought about stretching it into a double, but thought better of it and stands on first. So now Tori Bennett will try and move her over and win the game for the Hawkeyes. She's 0 for 3, watches ball 1 outside. She's grounded out twice and lined out to center field. The 1-0 pitch is fouled off the netting. Strike 1. When corn grows fuel, Iowans win. Ethanol is a renewable fuel that's better for our environment, our health, and our wallets. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Plus, you'll be eligible for some fun, corny giveaways. The count's 1-1 to Bennett. And she fouls one off over the first base dugout. And it's 1-2. Bennett had a hit against Pease in Game 1 on Friday. A bloop single into left field. One of the Hawkeyes' 4 hits on Friday. But yesterday, she rocked an 0-for, going 0 for 2, but had a sacrifice bunt as well. So the count's 1-2 to the Hawkeye shortstop. And it's low and in the dirt. Roman doesn't go anywhere. Count evens at 2 apiece. So deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Roman represents the go-ahead run on first base. Tori Bennett's at the plate. The 2-2 pitch. There goes Roman. The throw down is late. That's a stolen base for Tatiana Roman. It was a ball that missed low. They're trying to check Tori Bennett's swing. They said no swing. So the Hawkeyes now have a runner in scoring position. Tatiana Roman gets her 4th stolen base of the season. Is 4 for 6 now. Tori Bennett, who's top 10 in the Big Ten in hits. Base hit would give the Hawkeyes the lead. The full count is spoiled. Only problem is first base is now full. Sammy Diaz waits on deck. Diaz is 1 for 3 today. Had the triple down the right field line that hit off the diving glove of Burnett. But Tori Bennett's the batter now. The full count pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Tatiana Roman gets a 2-out single and steals second and gets into scoring position, but she's stranded there. And we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Minnesota has a chance to win it. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
To the bottom of the 8th we go. Brianna Vasquez back into the circle for the Hawkeyes after coming in relief with the bases loaded and nobody out. In the bottom of the 7th inning, surrendered, allowed the game-tying run to score. It doesn't go against her record. That'll go against Adams. But Minnesota was able to tie the game, but Vasquez stopped them from pushing across the game-winning run. Ball 1 misses outside to Natalie Den Hartog. Minnesota had the bases loaded with 1 out. And anything in the outfield would have won the game. But Jess Oakland popped up in foul territory. Here's another foul ball in foul territory, and Tristan Doster makes the play behind the plate for out number 1. I think I've seen this series more flyouts in foul territory made by the Iowa defense than I've seen the rest of the season combined. I've seen Klosterman make quite a few out in left field. Avery Jackson and Grace Baines, whoever is playing third, has made a couple in front of the third base dugout, and Tristan Doster just caught one in front of the backstop. And it's the first out of the 8th. Called strike 1 to Sydney Strelo, the Minnesota 6-hole hitter, and second baseman, who's 0 for 3, has flied out all 3 times in shallow left center field. The 0-1 is called strike on the lower inside corner, and the count is quickly 0-2. The 0-2 pitch from Vasquez is fouled down the right field line. Count remains 0-2. Iowa had no runs on 7 hits, no errors. Minnesota 1 run on 6 hits, no errors. And if we take team comparisons, Iowa moves to 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and the real kicker is Minnesota is just 1 for 9. And here's another foul ball off the netting. Minnesota just 1 for 9 when they have runners in scoring position, 1 for 11 with runners on, and the Hawkeyes not doing any better. They're 1 for 10 when they have runners on base. The count's 0-2 to Sydney Strelo. Vasquez and her pitch, and here's a line drive into left field, but it's going to fade foul. Avery Jackson gave a diving attempt at it over the shoulder, but it lands foul. Minnesota's left 9 runners on base, just scoring the 1 run. The count is still 0-2, and here's the pitch, and it's outside. Strela was able to check her swing. Ball 1. Vasquez into the pitch. The 1-2 is a foul ball. Avery Jackson has room, and she makes the play. Another foul out made by the Iowa defense. So this Hawkeye squad has made quite a few catches in foul territory today. Avery Jackson, that's at least her third off the top of my head over at third base. So they are 2 away, and Maddie Elke is the Minnesota batter. Elke led off the bottom of the 7th inning with a double off the left field wall. She missed the home run by about 4 feet. But she led off the 7th with a double and later came around and scored on the sacrifice fly from Kayla Chavez. It's been Minnesota's only run of the game, but it tied the game, and that's the important part. The 1-0 misses outside, 2-0 from Vasquez. Vasquez in her second inning of relief. Started Friday's game. Got her 5th loss of the season. The 2-0, swung and missed, strike 1. On Friday, now her stat line's going to seem a little skewered because of some late Minnesota runs, but she pitched decently well. The final stat line's just not going to say it. She went 5 innings and gave up 5 runs, but 3 of them came in the 6th. And she didn't get an out in the 6th, so she went 5 complete, only allowing 2 runs. And here's a line drive base hit into right center field. It's going to reach the wall. Roman gets it, throws it in quickly, but it's a stand-up double for Maddie Elke, her second double in as many innings. Minnesota now has the game-winning run standing at second base. Maddie Elke with the pair of doubles. One last inning off the wall. And this one, a line drive that got to the wall in about 4 or 5 bounces. She stands on second base with Delaney Cox standing in the box. Ball 1 misses inside. Cox was the one who bunted in the bottom of the 7th inning to try and move Elke over to third. And Avery Jackson picked up the ball and threw it to a covering Tori Bennett at third base. But the third base umpire said that Tori Bennett blocked the bag and didn't give Elke a chance to slide in. So Elke was granted third base. Cox reached first, so the Golden Gophers had runners on the corners with nobody out. And if the umpire hadn't said that Bennett blocked the bag, the tag was made in time. So the lead runner would have been out, and Minnesota would have had a runner on first with 1 out, which is quite different from runners on the corners with nobody out. A hit by pitch later loaded the bases, and then Vasquez came into the game, surrendered the sacrifice fly, and eventually got out of the inning. The count's 1-0. We had a meeting on the mound with Mandy Gardner. That's why I was rambling on for a little bit, but we're back, and here's a foul ball down the left field line. Delaney Cox is 0 for 2, grounded out, and as I just went on a long-winded rant about, had that fielder's choice of a bunt. The 1-1 pitch is a pop fly in foul territory. Are you kidding me? Avery Jackson makes the catch in foul territory again. So all 3 outs this inning were pop flies caught by the infield in foul territory. Doster catches 1 behind the plate, and Avery Jackson catches 2 in front of the third base dugout. We're heading to the top of the 9th, and we're still tied 1-1. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Top of the 9th inning. Sammy Diaz is going to be the one to lead things off for the Hawkeyes. Diaz is 1 for 3, tripled into right field, but has yet to face Autumn Pease today. Launches strike one, 0-1. Against Pease over the weekend, games 1 and 2, she's combined 1 for 5. Behind 0-1, watches strike 2, so the count is quickly 0-2 to the Hawkeye first baseman. Autumn Pease in her second inning of relief. The fourth pitcher used by Minnesota in this game. The 0-2 curveball misses outside. Diaz doesn't offer. 1-2. A game that started at noon Central Time. It's now 2:20. So a 2-hour and 20-minute game after both games 1 and 2 took just about an hour and 5 minutes. The 1-2 curveball misses outside, and the count evens at 2 apiece. Diaz hitting .275 this year. A .372 OBP has started every game this year for the Hawkeyes at first base. It's what we call consistency. The 2-2 misses low, and she works the count full. And this is after Autumn Pease only threw 3 walks combined in her first 15 innings of work. Has worked a full count. Diaz fouls it off, so not quite a walk yet. But that's something Diaz is very comfortable with. 20 walks this season to lead the Big Ten. And is tied for 10th in the conference. Count's still full. With nobody out, Diaz, the leadoff batter in the top of the 9th. Hits a ground ball along the left side, and it's botched by Oakland, but she recovers in time to throw her out. She mishandled the ground ball. Hit it right out of her glove and hit off her chest. But she picked it up off of one bounce and threw over to first to retire Diaz. So 1 away, Grace Baines, the new Hawkeye batter. Baines 1 for 3. In the top of the 7th inning, Baines hit a hard ground ball back up the middle that hit off the glove of the pitcher. And she later came around and scored. Swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. Here we are in the top of the 9th inning. And here's a foul ball off the bat of Baines. Hawkeyes 2-4 in extra innings this season. Most recently, an 8-3 loss in 10 innings at home against Northwestern a couple weekends ago. Minnesota this season 2-3 in the 8th inning or longer. The count's 0-2 to Baines. The pitch from Pease is a pop fly on the infield that will be caught by the second baseman Strelo. 2 outs. Denali Lecker is the Hawkeye batter, and of course Lecker is the one who has the best chance of giving the Hawkeyes a lead with one swing of the bat. 7 home runs this season to lead the team. Also leads the team in RBIs with 32 of them. Lecker still looking for her first home run in Big Ten play, and this would be a huge spot for it to happen. First pitch curveball catches the corner, 0-1. Lecker 1 for 3. Singled on a line drive into left. Way back in the 5th inning. The 0-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Similar spot. Count is 0-2 to the Iowa DP. If this game continues to go on any longer, likely we'll see Denali Lecker in the circle to pitch for Iowa. The 0-2. He's not chased by Lecker. It's outside. Ball 1. Top of the 9th inning, 2 outs. Iowa 1, Minnesota 1. Due up in the home half of the 9th for Minnesota is 9-1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Lecker is popped up, and the shortstop Oakland is going to camp under it on the infield and makes the catch for the 3rd and final out. Hawkeyes go down in order. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Iowa 1, Minnesota 1. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
We're playing 9, bottom of the 9th. Minnesota 1, Iowa 1. 9-1-2 due up for the Minnesota order, and Breezy Burnett is going to lead it off. Burnett's 0 for 1. Has popped up on the infield and was hit by a pitch in the 7th inning, which loaded the bases for Minnesota. She shows bunt first time, gets it down third baseline. Jackson charges, throw over to the covering Baines, is in time for out number 1, and Burnett can't believe it. I mean, it's definitely the right call. I think she's more frustrated out of the fact that she thought, oh, that was a really good bunt, and I'm going to beat this out. It's the right call from the umpire. I think she just can't believe that the Hawkeye defense made that play. Great play by Avery Jackson over at third. So a typical 5-4 putout. Mandy Gardner is going to make a pitching change for the Hawkeyes. Brianna Vasquez is not going to pitch to Kayla Chavez. It's going to be number 5, Denali Lecker. As there's one out here in the bottom of the 9th. It's back to the top of the order for Minnesota. Now, if you're asking why are we making that change, and that's because of the success that Chavez has had against Vasquez so far this weekend. Went 2 for 3 against her on Friday and had that big sacrifice fly that tied the game in the bottom of the 7th inning in this one. But Lecker is finished warming up. We read off Lecker's stats for you so far this year. a 2.04 ERA, over 48 innings pitched, a 2-0 record, and nearly all of her appearances come out of the bullpen. It's the first time pitching, it's not her first time pitching this weekend. Threw a little bit on Friday. Has 6 saves to lead the Iowa team this year. Pumps in first pitch, strike 1. Chavez 1 for 3. In her 4 at-bats, she's flied out 3 times, but of course one of them was the sacrifice fly, and the other one she hit a double to the center field wall. And here's a hard ground ball on the left side. It's going to reach the outfield past the diving glove of Avery Jackson. So the Hawkeyes go with the pitching change for a more favorable matchup. But Kayla Chavez rips it into left field nonetheless, and it's a 1-out single. And the game-winning run stands at first base. So the game is still tied 1 apiece. 1 away. Amani Bradley is the Minnesota batter. Watches strike 1. Bradley 1 for 4. Is grounded out. Fouled out, flied out to right, and got a bunt single. Things are getting hectic here in Minneapolis. Ball 1 misses low and outside. Chavez is not a threat to steal over at first base. The 1-1 misses upstairs, 2-1. Chavez doesn't even have a stolen a base attempt in her entire career. In her sophomore campaign, hasn't attempted to steal a base yet. The 2-1 misses up high, and the count is now 3 balls and 1 strike. Chavez stands on first base as the game-winning run after singling into left field after Denali Lecker came in as the relief pitcher. The 3-1 is low for ball 4. So the game-winning run now stands at second base. Now this is the problem that you have sometimes when you make as many pitching changes as you do. And I mean, this is only the 3rd pitchers I always use. But Vasquez was doing well, and you just run the risk that maybe Denali Lecker doesn't have it. And the 2 batters that she's faced, both of them have reached. Chavez a single into left, and Bradley a 5-pitch walk, and now the 3-hole batter for Minnesota is at the plate. And now we have a ball low and in the dirt. It scoots past Doster, and Chavez is going to advance to third base safely. Take a closer look at it. And it'll probably go down as a pass ball off the glove of Doster. So runners on second and third. A 1-0 count. And here's a fly ball in fair territory. It's back at the wall. Roman is going to make the catch. Her throw home is late as Minnesota walks it off. Jess Oakland with the walk-off sacrifice fly into center field. Scores Kayla Chavez. And Minnesota wins it in the bottom of the 9th by a final score of 2-1. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with some post-game coverage. You've been listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Hi, Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
We're here with some post-game coverage of the Iowa softball series finale against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Final score, Minnesota wins it in 9 innings by a final score of 2-1. They win it off of a walk-off sacrifice fly off of the bat of Jess Oakland. They score both of their runs via the sacrifice fly. And go on to win the game in extras. The walk-off hit goes to the name of Jess Oakland. It scores Kayla Chavez from third base after Minnesota. Minnesota had runners on first and second. Oh, here, we'll just explain the entire top of the ninth to you again. Well, we'll just go through the entire game. Why don't we? We're scoreless up until the 6th. There's a couple of points where Iowa has a chance to score, Minnesota has a chance to score, but no one's able to push anything across. Fast forward to the top of the 7th inning. It's 0-0. Grace Baines is up for Iowa. Hits a hard ground ball back up the middle. Hits off the Minnesota pitcher's glove. She reaches safely for a base hit with 1 out. And then after the second mound is made, Briley Klosterman's at the plate, and there's a pass ball by the catcher, which allows Baines to advance to second base and get into scoring position. And then on the very next pitch, Briley Klosterman hits a 2-out RBI single into center field, and Grace Baines slid in headfirst safely just before the tag was applied, and Iowa took a 1-0 lead in the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and Maddie Elke, the 7-hole batter for Minnesota, hits a double off the left center field wall, misses a home run by about 4 feet. Then Delaney Cox puts a sacrifice bunt down, and Avery Jackson, the Hawkeye third baseman, charges in, wheels around, and fires over to the covering Tori Bennett at third base. The tag was applied, and it looked like the Hawkeyes just made a spectacular defensive play, but our third base umpire signaled that Tori Bennett blocked the bag illegally and didn't give Elke the chance to slide in safely. So the player, Minnesota, was awarded with runners on the corners with nobody out. A hit by pitch loaded the bases. And then Coach Gillespie pulled Jalen Adams and elected to go with Brianna Vasquez at the top of the Minnesota order. And Kayla Chavez hits a sacrifice fly to tie the game. Minnesota eventually loads the bases again on an infield bunt single. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. Jess Oakland's at the plate for Minnesota, hits a pop fly on the infield in foul territory. And then Iowa gets the third out to get out of the jam. So we go into the 8th, and nobody scores. We go into the 9th. Hawkeyes go scoreless in the top half of the frame. And then we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Brianna Vasquez gets the first out of Breezy Burnett. They turn the lineup over to the top of the order. And Coach Gillespie pulls Vasquez because of the success that Kayla Chavez has had against her over the weekend. And the move doesn't pan out as Chavez rips a single into left field off of Denali Lecker. Lecker then walks Amani Bradley to put the go-ahead run on second base with one out. A pass ball off the glove of Tristan Doster then moves the runners up a bag, so the go-ahead run is now at third base. And Jess Oakland hits a sacrifice fly deep enough into center field. Tatiana Roman makes the catch, but the throw home was late, and Minnesota walked it off. Autumn Pease gets the win for Minnesota. She gets all 3 wins over the weekend. And after throwing a shutout on Friday, a shutout on Saturday, she finishes the weekend pitching 16 innings and allowing no runs, striking out 24 Hawkeye batters. And the loss goes to Denali Lecker, who goes a third, allowing the run. But again, a large part of it was because of the pass ball. She gave up 1 hit and walked 1. Jalen Adams was the starting pitcher for Iowa. She did really, really well. Went 6 complete shutout innings. Came in, started the bottom of the 7th with the 1-0 lead. And was 3 outs away from getting the complete game shutout, but allowed the leadoff double. Then we had the bunt kerfuffle in which the umpire said Bennett blocked the bag, and then she hit a batter, so she exited the game before the runs, and then the run scored, so it gets on to her tally. She goes 6 innings, allowing 1 run on 5 hits, striking out 1 and walking 1. If we look at the Iowa offense, Tatiana Roman was really the star. She went 3 for 4 in today's game. The only Hawkeye who tallied multiple hits. She had 3 of the team's 7. Diaz, Baines, Lecker, and Klosterman all had 1, and of course Klosterman had the RBI single. And the head scratcher is Nia Carter, who went 0 for 4 at the top of the order. This after going 5 for 7 over the first 2 games. So she finishes the weekend going 5 for 11 after what seemed like a promising start. She also struck out once, which is very out of nature for her. Iowa's still looking for who that spark is going to be in the 9-hole spot. Avery Jackson went 0 for 3. Anna Streff went 0 for 3 over the weekend. And it was just a rough overall weekend for the Hawkeye offense. And let's see if I can do my math. 23 innings. The team was only able to score 1 run. They're going to look to try and turn things around early this next upcoming week. They have a home game against the Iowa State Cyclones in our Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series. It's a blackout game in Iowa City. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock. And then next weekend they're back at home, for their final home series of the weekend. They have one more home game the following week against UNI, but it's their last Big Ten home series of the weekend next week against Rutgers. A Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair. But their next game is this upcoming Wednesday, April 26th. The Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series against the Iowa State Cyclones. On Wednesday, first pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock p.m. But that's going to wrap things up for our post-game coverage of this edition of Iowa Softball. As a reminder, your final score, Minnesota 2, Iowa 1 in 9 innings. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in wherever you may be. And to everyone listening, have a good afternoon, and a good night, everybody. And I've been Lucas Strain. Thank you very much for listening to this edition of Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Network. And as always, go Hawks.
Iowa Hawkeye Softball has been brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network, Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association, and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye Softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.